I'm feeling incredibly lonely and isolated right now, and I really need someone to talk to. That's why I'm reaching out to you. I hope you don't mind if I ramble a bit. My wife, 34F, and I, 34M, have been married for 8 years and together for 12. We have 2 young children, a 6-year-old boy and a 4-year-old girl. I work as a lawyer while my wife has been a stay-at-home mom since our first child was born. However, she's ready to re-enter the workforce this year now that both kids are in school. It seems like all of our friends are other couples who are also parents of kids in the same school. All of our friends are highly educated and financially stable professionals leading stable lives. Last night, we celebrated a 40th birthday party with 3 other couples. We have a particularly close bond with one couple. We often go on family vacations together and hang out multiple times a week. Unlike us, they have jobs that only require them to work 3 days a week, allowing them plenty of free time. They're quite active and even participate in triathlons. My wife and I have started joining them in training for triathlons, taking advantage of my wife's free time while the kids are at school to train alongside them. Typically, we spend 2 days together as a couple, 2 days with the husband of the other couple, and maybe 2 days with both couples during a given week. Now, back to the birthday party. It was a night of heavy drinking for everyone involved. My wife and I enjoy our fair share of drinks, but the other couple tends to indulge even more. Around 1 a.m., feeling exhausted and intoxicated, I decided to call it a night and announced to my wife and the group that I was heading home. My wife, however, expressed her desire to stay with everyone because she was having a good time. At the time, I didn't think much of it and took an Uber back home, where I went straight to bed. When I woke up the next morning, I realized that my wife hadn't returned home. She had apparently taken an Uber with the other couple and stayed over at their house around 3 a.m. As planned, I had booked a spa day for her as a Christmas gift, and she was supposed to use it today. I took care of the kids all day while she was away. When she returned home in the morning, everything seemed fine. However, she came back from the spa much earlier than expected, sobbing uncontrollably. My initial concern was that she had been in a car accident or that there was a family emergency. But instead, she told me that she had kissed the other husband last night, although she couldn't remember the event. As the story goes, their babysitter dozed off on their couch and happened to overhear my wife and the other husband in the guest bedroom, where my wife was supposedly sleeping. The babysitter shared this information with the other wife, who didn't inquire further. Subsequently, the wife informed her husband, who then relayed the news to my wife while she was at the spa. Interestingly, the husband claims to have no recollection of the event, but is adamant that it was a mere innocent mistake, a quick, unintended kiss. On the other hand, my wife firmly believes it was just a kiss, although she strangely recalls no specifics and has given a couple of minor, contradictory details about what transpired. I reached out to the other wife to gather her perspective, and we were both utterly taken aback and astounded. Desperate for answers, I obtained the babysitter's contact details, as my wife either couldn't or wouldn't provide any information. If you delve into the security recordings, you'll only find pain. The babysitter disclosed that she was half asleep but stirred awake when they all entered the room. Later on, she heard disturbing noises, sounds of impact and slapping, leading her to assume it was coming from the couple. At some point, one of their children made a noise, prompting the babysitter to get up and discover the other wife sleeping alone. This discovery left her deeply distressed, prompting her to leave in the middle of the night. She was convinced it was more than just kissing and that they had closeness. I abruptly ended the call, feeling sick to my stomach and unable to bear hearing any more details. Now, on top of everything else, I have to deal with gaslighting. The notion that the babysitter could overhear mere kissing in a bedroom seemed implausible to me when I first heard it, and I expressed my disbelief to my wife. However, speaking with the babysitter only confirmed what I had initially suspected, even though she remained steadfast in her claim that they didn't have closeness. It seems like she's desperately trying to will that to be the truth now. At some instinctual level, I couldn't shake off the discomfort of my wife spending so much time working out with another man, but I dismissed it as unwarranted jealousy. Even my wife's mom sensed my unease and mentioned it to her at some point. Then, about a month ago, after a heavy night of drinking, my wife placed her hand on his back at a bar as he looked like he was about to doze off, right in front of all four of us. When we got home in our intoxicated state, I confronted her about how incredibly disrespectful it was. If someone told me they had been carrying on with this for months, I wouldn't be surprised. The opportunity for more obviously exists. If you told me it was just a one-time mistake, I could believe that too. It feels like there was an emotional affair brewing, with underlying sexual tension, and it finally reached its peak last night. My mind is overwhelmed with a whirlwind of terrible emotions right now. I'm tempted to call the babysitter again to get more details, even though I panicked and hung up after a few seconds. I'm in a really dark place at the moment. I had complete trust in my wife. I believed our marriage was built on an unbreakable foundation. I thought we both loved each other wholeheartedly. I've always treated her like royalty, with the utmost love and respect. I believed our marriage was strong and solid. I strived to be the best husband and father I could be. Our friends saw us as the perfect couple, but little did they know what was happening behind the scenes. The main challenge in our relationship has been the routine and somewhat robotic nature of our sex life, which I've expressed to her over the past couple of years. However, these issues were present even before this other couple entered the picture. We still have sex 1-2 times a week, and it's generally enjoyable, although it has become somewhat predictable. It's like following a script, always the same routine. I've been longing for more novelty and variety in our sex life. My wife, on the other hand, believed our sex life was incredible, so she didn't see a need for change, although she promised to work on it. I figured this was a common issue for many guys as their marriages progress, so I didn't view it as a deal breaker. Is all of this connected? Maybe, possibly. I have no clue. Could it be that she secretly resents being a stay-at-home mom, and this affair made her feel alive? I'm completely in the dark. My wife has spent the entire day apologizing profusely. She's been in tears, expressing her love for me and our marriage. She's filled with deep remorse and saying all the right things. Does she truly regret what happened, or is she only sorry she got caught? It's hard to say. She insists that nothing caused her to make this terrible mistake. Deep down, we both know there must have been underlying reasons, and being intoxicated certainly doesn't justify her actions. I made it clear that she should abstain from drinking for a while, and she agreed to it. Her drinking has been steadily increasing over the past 3 months. I've noticed her getting sick after New Year's and the Super Bowl, which hasn't happened in a long time. And now, this situation. It's likely all connected. She agreed to end all contact with the other husband, although it will be complicated given the school-related issues. She expressed willingness to attend marriage counseling if that's what I wanted. She's desperate to save our marriage and insists it was just a kiss. Yet she's uncertain and has gaps in her memory. Update. With an icy resolve setting in, I decided to act on my suspicions. My once unwavering trust in my wife had been shattered into fragments, and I was determined to piece together the truth. I couldn't bear the thought of this happening again. The future of our family was at stake. For the sake of my children, I needed to know what happened that night. I reached out to the babysitter, a young girl named Emma. I mustered every ounce of self-control to keep my voice steady as I delivered a veiled threat. Emma, I need the truth. If you refuse, I'll have no choice but to involve the police. This is a serious matter. There was silence on the other end of the line, followed by a small, resigned sigh. Okay, Emma muttered. I'll tell you the truth, but it'll cost you $2,000. I have a recording of everything that happened that night. She also confessed that my wife had been paying her for her silence. I felt a jolt of anger. She was exploiting my situation. But at that moment, I needed the truth more than anything else. I agreed to her terms. After all, what was $2,000 in comparison to my peace of mind? Once I had the recording in my possession, I sat alone in my home office, steeling myself for what I was about to hear. My heart hammered in my chest as I pressed play. The sounds were unmistakable. The moaning, slapping, hushed whispers, and laughter. It was more than enough proof. It was a bitter pill to swallow. I sat there in stunned silence, the weight of betrayal sinking in. My next step was clear. I called the wife of the other man involved, a woman named Sarah. I could hear the tremor in her voice as I relayed what I had discovered. "I don't want to believe it," she muttered, her voice choked with emotion. "But I can't ignore this. Thank you for telling me." With the truth unveiled, my path was clear. I filed for divorce not out of anger, but out of necessity. My children deserved a stable, trustworthy environment, and with my wife's actions, I couldn't guarantee that any longer. The custody battle was grueling, but I was well prepared. My wife's increasing alcoholism, coupled with the incontrovertible proof of her infidelity, gave me the upper hand. In the end, the court granted me full custody of our children. Seeing my wife spiral downwards was a tragic sight. The woman I loved, the mother of my children, was replaced with a person I barely recognized. She was ordered to attend rehab by the court. Despite everything, I wished her well. For the sake of our children, I hoped she would recover. In the aftermath, life was challenging, but the worst was behind us. I was granted full custody of our children, and they adapted surprisingly well. They missed their mother, but I reassured them she was getting the help she needed. We were healing as a family, and as painful as the experience was, it brought us closer together. As for the friends who were involved, we cut them off completely. It was a difficult decision, but a necessary one for our peace of mind. They were no longer a part of our lives, and we were better off without them. In the midst of the chaos, I realized I was stronger than I thought. My love for my children fueled my determination to create a better life for them, free from deception and betrayal. My heartache slowly gave way to resilience and a newfound determination to protect my family.